need $1 million to retire? 2 million, 5 million, maybe 500,000? How much do you really need? Is it a lot? Is it a little? How long is it going to take you? I mean, a key part of retirement planning is to answer that question. How much do I need to retire? Right? How long is it going to take me to get that amount of money? And the answer is going to vary by individual, and it depends largely on your income now and the lifestyle you want in retirement. Now, knowing how much you need to save by age can help you stay on track and reach your retirement goals. There's a few things that we're going to talk about that can help, give you ballpark numbers for what you need, to look for, what you want to do. So let's start with how much do I need to retire? How much? Well, most experts are going to say your retirement income should be about 80% of your final pre retirement annual income. Now, this is going to mean that if you make $100,000 annually at retirement, you need at least $80,000 per year to have a comfortable lifestyle after leaving the workforce. Now, this amount can be adjusted up or down depending on other sources of income, like Social Security, pensions, or maybe you get a part-time job, right? Or even, stuff like your health, lifestyle that you want to live, stuff like that. Now, for example, you might need more than that. Maybe if you want to travel a whole bunch during retirement, right? You go to different places, stuff like that. One of the retirement rules that we can talk about for this is going to be the 4% rule. Now, there are different ways to determine how much money you need to save to get the retirement income you want. Now, the 4% rule is going to be an easy, formula to use, right? And it's going to divide your desired annual retirement income by 4%, right? And that's why it's called the 4% rule. So let's take the example we used earlier, right? You want that you usually have $100,000 annually at retirement, so you need $80,000 per year, right? So to generate that $80,000, you would need a nest egg at retirement of about $2 million, right? That's taking that 80,000 and dividing it by 4% or 0.04. Now, this strategy assumes a 5% return on investments, and this is after taxes and inflation. No additional retirement income, such as like Social Security, right? And a lifestyle similar to the one that you would be living at the time you retire, right? Not a lot of big changes. Keep in mind that your life expectancy plays an important role in determining if the 4% rule rate is going to be sustainable. In general, the 4% rule assumes that you will live for about another 30 years in retirement. Retirees who live longer need their portfolios to last longer, and medical costs and other expenses can increase as you age. Now, the 4% rule does not work unless you stick to it year in and year out. Straying one year to splurge on a big purchase can have a major consequence because that's going to reduce the principal, which directly impacts the compound interest that a retiree depends on to sustain that income. Well, you've got retirement savings by age, right? How much should you save by each age, stuff like that. Because knowing how much you should save towards retirement at each stage of your life helps you answer that all important question: how much do I need to retire? So let's go over a few different ways that can help you set some age based savings goals on your road to retirement. The first one is going to be a percentage of your salary. So, to begin to figure out how much you need to accumulate at various stages of your life, you need to think of in terms of a percentage of your salary, right? That's the starting point. Now, Fidelity Investments is going to suggest that, saving 15% of your gross salary starting in your 20s and lasting throughout the course of your working life. Now, this includes savings across different retirement accounts and any employer contributions if you have access to a 401k or another employer sponsored plan. Okay, well, let's look at, how much to save for retirement by age, right? Because Fidelity also recommends a few different benchmarks based on multiple different, of your annual earnings, like for how much you should have saved for retirement by the time you reach a certain age. So the first one, we're gonna say age 30, it should be you should have saved, basically your salary. By age 40, you should have saved 3 times your salary. By 50, 6 times, 60, 8 times your salary, and then finally at age 67, you should have about 10 times your salary, right? Saved up for your retirement. Now, there's also an alternate formula we can use here. Another more, we'll keep alternate formula, right? So basically, it's going to hold that you should save 25% of your gross salary each year starting in your 20s. Now, the 25% savings figure may sound scary, like intimidating, but don't forget that it includes not only 401k holdings and matching contributions from your employer, but also other types of retirement savings. Now, if you follow this formula, it should allow you to accumulate your full annual salary by 30. Continuing at the same average savings rate, it should yield something like by age 35, it should be about 2 times your salary. 40 will be 3 times, and it keeps this every 5 years, it goes up. 45 is 4 times your salary. All right, by the time you get to 55, it's 6 times. 65, it's 8 times your annual salary. So it's not too far off from what, the retirement savings by age is, right? Is 67, you want it 10 times your salary. So at 70, you'll have, 9 times your salary. So it's not too far off. Now, with the older you get, or maybe you're younger now and you're not sure, your confidence can be, waning, right? You could be getting really anxious about you not saving enough for retirement as the older you get, or maybe you don't know if you can save for retirement. I mean, you're not alone. There was a 2020 survey by Charles Schwab of currently employed 401k plan participants found that saving enough for retirement continues to be a leading source of significant financial stress for all generations. Now, participants in the survey anticipate that the economic fallout from the pandemic that we had will have an impact on their retirement savings. Overall, only 37% of survey respondents think they are very likely to achieve their retirement savings goals. Almost half, a little over 49%, believe they are somewhat likely to do so, and 14% said it's not likely at all. Now, Gen X has the least confidence. Just 32% feel like it's very likely that they're going to reach their goals, compared to the 39% of baby boomers and 42% of millennials. In the early and middle years of your career, you have time to recover from any losses in your retirement accounts. And that's a good time to take some of the risks that allow you to earn more with your investments. So if you're anxious about not being able to make, enough money in your retirement, if you're younger, be a little more riskier, go out on a limb, because you can make it up later. Okay, well, how do you calculate retirement savings? Well, in addition to the stuff we just talked about, to determine what you should have saved, and by what age, there's a bunch of online calculators that can be useful and help you reach your retirement savings goals. For example, they can help you understand how changing savings and withdrawals rates can impact your retirement nest egg. Although there are many online retirement, savings calculators to choose from, there's some that are better than others and some that are much better than others. There's one on T. Rowe Price Retirement Income Calculator, and then there's the Maxify ES Planner. Those two, I would say, give a try. Like, at least go look at them, right? And let's say you're a couple though, right? These calculators you can use the calculators for that as well, because it might be different for if there's two of you, right? It's going to be different for how much you need to retire, because much like an individual, it's going to be different for how much a couple needs to save for retirement to be comfortable. And it's going to depend on their current annual income and lifestyle and the type of life you want to live when you retire. A lot of experts maintain that retirement income should be about 80% of the combined, final pre-retirement annual earnings of the couple. Fidelity Investments recommend that you should save 10 times your annual income by 67. Well, what about each year? How much did you save each year? Well, one rule of thumb is to save about 15% of your annual earnings. In a perfect world, you'd begin that in, your early 20s and all the way up to you retire. Okay, what's the bottom line here? Like, what do we learn? Like, what's going on? Well, sometimes you'll be able to save more for retirement, sometimes less. But what's important is to get as close to your savings goal as possible and check your progress at each benchmark to make sure you're staying on track. I would say the benchmarks go by 5 years. I would say bare minimum, once a year, check all your stuff at least once a year. I mean, really twice a year, like every 6 months. Check your stuff, rebalance portfolios and stuff like that. A 401k might be a good place to start. If you have access to one. If not, you could consider an IRA. Because the importance of saving for retirement is, I mean, it's so great. And we've made a list of, so many different places that you can go. Like, there's so many lists, you know, you could probably just Google, or I could probably put a list down below, but you could just Google, list of brokers for Roth IRAs and, you know, regular IRAs and stuff like that. And you can find the best places to create those retirement accounts. A lot of people use M1 Finance, Robinhood, and stuff like that online. You don't have to use anyone else. Just it really depends on your situation. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate if you did. But I'll see you in the next video. Y'all be safe.